sus conocimientos de hacking.
Fue un año intenso, pero todavía queda mucho por hacer para seguir formando futuros hackers. ¿Cómo podés sumarte a esta iniciativa? Si trabajas en ciberseguridad, puedes ser vocero o vocera del programa. Si trabajas en una escuela o universidad...
Estamos en vivo en el día 3 de la Ekoparty. Bienvenidos al lado B. Ya estuvieron viendo algunas cositas, ya estuvo Leo, estuvimos transmitiendo el main stage y estamos acá con Fede. ¿Cómo estás, Fede? ¿Descansaste?
Estoy muy bien, estoy descansado. Ayer vi algunas capturas de nuestro stream y me di cuenta que ya al final de la transmisión estaba entregándolo todo, igual que vos. Días muy largos, con mucha intensidad, pero mucha felicidad. Y nada, qué mejor que el último día para gastar todas las balas que quedan.
Sí. Ahora sí me agarró el FOMO de todo lo que no llegué a hacer hasta el momento. Ahí pila, entonces estuve recorriendo, hablando, agarrando unos stickers, tipo, antes de que se termine.
Es el momento, y a mí me pasa mucho, tipo, uy, ¿cómo que ahora es la Ekoparty? Sí, no, porque lo que estuve viendo en el stream y pensaba ir en un rato, ¡pum!
Y hoy viene mucha gente que se colgó y que no vino los primeros 2 días y dice,
claro,
aunque sea un rato.
Si vos estás colgada en tu casa sin saber qué hacer, venite a la Eko, pero si no podés, si estás en el trabajo, estás tomando un matecito, acá con Gala, te vamos a dar un pedacito, una ventanita a Ekoparty.
Estamos acá con un par de amigos.
Estamos con nada más y nada menos que con STÖK y con JOOHOI, y vamos a hacer una charla en inglés, así que welcome guys, welcome to Buenos Aires, welcome to Ekoparty. For JOOHOI the first time, for STÖK no.
I've been there.
Third time in Buenos Aires.
Third time, second time at Ekoparty.
That's awesome. So glad to be here. So glad to spend a few minutes at the stream. How is, last day of the con? Definitely you have seen the scene, the community. How was that experience?
Yeah, so me personally, I really love the community focus. Yeah, I really love the community focus. I love the people here, really open. People discuss. I love to nerd about things.
Nerd sniping.
Nerd sniping and getting nerd sniped.
Yeah.
Because I just love to nerd around of the different things. People are super, there's a lot of energy, really good kind of feeling around surrounding the whole conference, and in general, actually, people in Buenos Aires seems like that's me.
I have seen you guys interacting a lot with the communities. People show up and like, hey, we're super stoked that you're here. But I think it's always interesting, right? When people meet content creators, hackers, tool makers, people that have used and seen your work. How is the experience from the other side, right? Because sometimes you get a bunch of people just showing up like, hey, thank you for building this tool, thank you for making this video. How's the process of being on the other side?
There's only like one word to explain it, and it's surreal. Because we're all humans, we're people, and just like you and anyone else, and just because we did some cool stuff that we think is nice, like for me, content creation and stuff that I do, that's my art. Jonas releasing tool, that's his way of contributing, and I still love it. I mean, for me, it's a good thing. Somebody goes up and says, I really appreciate the things that you did. It's hard to take in because it's a day-to-day life that you normally do, and you're giving things away, not really realizing that there's people actually using it or looking at it.
Yeah, and I mean, so the biggest thing for me is the impact. And when we're doing like a tooling or creating videos or stuff like that, it's not just like helping a single person, but it's the ability to scale, to kind of switch everything globally better, especially through open source and content creation. When you don't have these, paywall stuff, you have open source free for everybody to use and extend the application or whatever if they wish. I think it's like I love empowering people, and with the things that we do, we're able to do that at scale.
is it not also a way of hacking? You know, when you see a problem and you give them the tools?
Yeah, for sure. For me, that is, like definitely is. It is kind of finding a creative solution for a problem, and to be able to kind of take a step back and generalize that in a way that it enables people to do the same thing outside of that really kind of corner case context.
I think Stork was saying like, okay, I do my thing, he does his thing, we do our thing. But I think the strategy is always the same, which is, you know, making something that from far might look super difficult and break it down, make it digestible. And I think, and I'll dig deeper on your project as well, but something that you normally do is getting topics and being able to transmit that. And I think many folks have picked up bug bounty or pen testing or tough subjects because the content is in a different fashion or in a fashion that we can consume it a little bit easier.
I mean, of course.
That's your hacking strategy, to say like, these are the tools, learn them.
Absolutely. And then, I mean, I've always had this skill to be able to influence people in a way. It's not in a negative way, but I get really excited about certain things, and that excitement just falls over into other people, and I want them to partake in my passions. I just share the things that I think are awesome with other people, and they get excited, and then we realize that the thing we want to do is going to be cool. It could be photography, it could be hacking, it could be whatever.
Yeah.
Even traveling. I mean, that's fun too. And last night, obviously, Fernet. So
they have been induced into Fernet.
Yeah, it's a no going back.
No.
So I love your punk attitude, you both like rock out. So what's the relationship with this culture and the hacking?
I mean, we're both from Northern Europe.
Yeah.
The Nordics, we have a really, really big, like a heavy metal and basically alternative music scene.
Yeah.
It is basically in the DNA, but you know, like all the Nordics, it's basically dark half of the year, so it's natural. So high coffee consumption to keep us going and embracing the darkness. So it's a kind of internal joke in that sense, you know, as well.
And that's true. I mean, imagine for a second that it's like dark and freaking cold for 6 months of the year. What do? You sit in, you play guitar, or you play the drums, or you do hacking, or whatever you do. We're inside, and we just dig into the things that we like, and then we go outside for the few hours that it's light. It's like then we go back in again.
But the punk attitude is about complaining of the problems we have, and making part of a mission, but also build the tools and communities. So I definitely think that there is an activism on the cultural side, and hacking. It's a way of it's being a little bit rebellious. Definitely has a component of being rebellious. That's one of the difference between hacking and cybersecurity, which I try to make that distinction. Hacking, it's also about changing the things in a creative approach, and cybersecurity, it's an aspect of changing things within the realm of securing stuff.
And I see what you're going with here, and this is really interesting, because for me, hacking isn't a job. It isn't a 9 to 5. It never stops. It's my lifestyle. I've always been curious, and I always wonder, like, what happens if I do this? What happens if I take this apart? You're kind of questioning how everything works, and it can be everything from like a government until computers. It's like you're questioning things, and I think that's the biggest takeaway for me, at least, is that I'm always curious, and I always asking, why does this work? And then try to tinker with it until I figure things out, and then move on to the next one.
Yeah, and at the same time, I don't think like cybersecurity can exist without hacking either. So we are kind of fueling the multiple industries. Arts, there's a lot of art in hacking as well. But at the same time, there's a lot of things that are considered as like a cybersecurity that we need to secure. But if we don't have the the ability or the incentive to actually break things apart and try different weird ways to use those and utilize those, we don't see the potential issues that I don't know, like I don't really consider like let's say ransomware gangs or cyber criminals as hackers per se. It's a monetary incentive, and it's just a lot of like a labor that goes into getting that money, and it's rarely about the enthusiasm to the technologies, all of that stuff. So we need the enthusiasm of the hacker community in order to improve everything around us, and that is also the one of my like personal things about the open source at the same time. So utilizing people to or helping people to utilize the tools that I create, so they can put their energy into something else, building on top of that, instead of everybody doing the same,
But that's the hack.
That is the hack.
That is the hack. It is. Everyone is struggling with this. They are trying to solve it. I like hacking as a verb rather than as an adjective to someone, right? I like hacking stuff, but I don't consider myself a hacker, right? Even like I can name other hackers, but I think it's a title that you give someone that hacks a lot. And this idea of hacking into a problem that might not be related directly with security. For example, and I'll take a few tips if you don't mind. Certbot. I don't know if many of you guys know, but Jonah slightly changed the aspect of, along other folks, of course, changed the aspect of the internet, right? And I think it's a as discussed topic. And so Certbot, for the guys who don't know, it's a way to automate the emission of certificates, and along other organizations, they were able to give certificates to millions of websites and securing a lot of people without them knowing.
Yeah, basically the combination of a project called Let's Encrypt, that is the certificate authority, and a lot of these open source tools that work as clients for that. We were able to solve a lot of issues in the TLS adaptation 10 years ago, roughly 10 years ago, basically helping to encrypt the web. And
it changed, and it changed how browsers behave. It changed how users. Remember, like 10 years ago, we were talking about like if you don't have the thing on the thing, don't go in. And instead of clashing, and this, I'm going to my point, right? Instead of clashing to the people saying like you need to put an S to the HTTP, which makes no sense. Technology becomes secure by default, and that's the actual hack. It's like, how can we make this easier?
Exactly, it's about enabling.
Enabling, exactly.
Yeah. So within the Certbot project, there was multiple different layers of enabling involved as well. Let's Encrypt, taking away the monetary issues, like it's free.
Yeah.
Second part, fixing some technological issues, like a certificate revocation by, just like a 90 days lifetime. Need to automate the renewal. It took away the skill issue with, like a broken TLS configurations by just doing a secure configuration automatically per default. So obviously the perfect spot to be in is like to remove all of these middleman things. But this is still, unfortunately, currently needed for the the phase to transform from the old way things work into the secure by default future.
I think it's so unfair that we are seeing the technology innovation in, ChatGPT, and not knowing about your work and the tools and how they impact in our everyday lives. So for me, it's super important your role too, that communicate for all the people about hacking and specific tools and make them available to anybody to understand.
I actually personally, I love the current state I don't really need people to know me. I just need the technology to improve things, to get more secure, and to help everybody around me. I don't really care about me being the one, but like lifting everybody up, lifting the technologies up, making sure that we have a brighter future.
Stök, what is the main challenge in telling these stories, in bringing attention to these so important topics and make it attractive, so people start like digging in and not only being a user, but also to collaborate, to engage, to be part of something bigger than just the end user of a technology?
It's a tricky question. I know. I don't have the full answer for it, but
I don't expect you to either, so don't worry.
Cool. I'll just gonna rant off a bit with some ideas that I think are the major factors. Because for me personally, I'm a person that get bored very easily. It needs to be something that excites me, or I think is interesting. So for me to be able to get eyes on the things that happen in our community, for instance, when I did this YouTube show for a while called Bounty Thursdays, for instance, like that was never about the things that I did. It was all about the cool thing that happened and what I thought that you could do with them. So it's like always lifting up other people's projects and then making sure that more people start to use those, because in the open source community, if you develop the coolest freaking tool but nobody's using it, then you get very lonely because your passion goes into that thing and nobody knows about it. So I want it to be like that funnel that just excited people about these projects, so they start using it and had the possibility to, I don't know, modify it and then maybe build on it. And you and I have seen that many times over and over again. The project starts, it forks, it turns into something else, people add to it, they do adaptations. Tom, that's here too, like there's so many spin-offs of the initial tools that he created due to the fact that they wanted to make them a bit better.
And I mean, like building from the previous question about creating the software to change the world in a way, we need curation. So there's millions of pieces of software around the world, tens of thousands, coming up every month. So we need the curation. We need somebody to, show people that, hey, this thing exists.
Yeah.
Nobody has the time to, go through all of the new tooling, all of the new stuff. It's all about the echo effects and talking around these new techniques, technologies, tools.
But you have also this late culture of, read the fucking manual, like you don't know how to do it, go to the docs. Like, sometimes we are not that friendly, so I think it's also challenging to say like this could be the solution to everything, but the adoption without the right communication, without the right breakdown, it's fucking tough.
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw in a joke about. So I did one short lightning talk on Wednesday about the open source tool that I author, and it was about the hidden features in the tool. One of the features I realized when writing the talk, now we go back to read the fucking manual part, is that I never documented that anywhere. People just didn't know that it existed because I told nobody. It has been in the tool for over a year and existed as a kind of individual piece of code for 4 years already. So it's not like RTFM is kind of nasty, not the good.
Like I get it. Like it's when somebody asks a question in a community, say like, hey, how I can use this specific tool to do this, and maybe the answer it's just on the first page, right? And authors tend, or maybe some generation of authors happen to be a little bit more direct.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, that's holds the truth as well. So I was talking about scaling, like scaling stuff, scaling the knowledge through to content creation, or scaling people's skills through the tools. But one thing that doesn't scale is one person's time, and that means that if I need to answer everybody's basic questions, the same question over and over and over again, that is really bad use of my time.
Yeah.
That is actually a good topic, which is we are not companies.
Exactly.
Like
we are not companies.
Like individuals, right? That do open source content being kind of a communicator, being an author, like we were talking about Tom about yesterday, right? About him doing tools and those tools getting traction, and that traction making people ask for features that go outside the scope of what he was developing and having to deal with that. I think it's a hidden thing in open source and content creation. What are other topics that we might not see and we want to share with our audience of being on the other side, in the creating side, in like traveling, being there, and responding to documentation questions?
I can easily say that when it comes to content creation, it's very easy that I've been feeling like quite overwhelmed lately with having time and effort and passion to create these videos that I used to do, because there may be like 10-15 minute video for you to consume, but it probably took me a week or 40 hours of active work to put that together, doing research, checking the code so you don't authority strengthening something that's really shitty, and so there's all these other things that goes in the back end of all this stuff that happens. You can ad hoc stuff and you can make them very easy, like people do live streams, right? Well, that's one thing to do. But if I want to watch something, I want a 5-minute boiled down, very fast-paced cutting to the point thing that I know that I could get out of it. It should usually answer a question for something that I'm looking for. If I want entertainment, I'll watch a TV show, or I sleep to Gold Rush, or whatever thing that I want to watch, just chill. But being able to, in a very technical area where we are, break down an extremely technical question, present it to somebody to use it, and then spike the curiosity. You're always going to leave them with something so they keep on digging. That's a skill, and that takes time. It's not easy being a content creator, and what happens on the other end is that if you publish things online, what's going to happen is that people are going to troll you, and I was definitely not trained to being trolled.
Yeah.
That's nothing. I didn't.
Slightly harassed.
Yeah, more or less. It's like you put 40 hours into a great video, you publish it, you're super happy, and somebody says,
This is
I
bullshit.
hate the sound of your voice. Oh. Why do you have long hair? You're annoying. It's like, oh, or you don't know shit. You're not a hacker. It's like, how do you know? It's like, you don't know. They just do it because that's authority strengthening them in a way. I never respond to that. So eventually I turned off all comments because I got anxiety just open up my phone to see the amount of views and shit. I stopped doing it. I got overwhelmed.
It is challenging.
We were talking about this, the difficult to focus in this TikTok era. So how do you handle, what are your opinions of this TikTok ecosystem first, and then how do you handle this thing? How do you work with the attention of the people?
To answer both, yeah. I think that the current state that we are in, with short content that's super fast communicated, only created to create dopamine, I personally don't think it's good. I don't use it. I decided to take that out of my life simply because I don't have an addictive personality, but I get very addicted to not doing anything. And I rather have the small time of the day that I have invested into something that I know I can profit from. It can be hacking or poking at stuff or learning something, looking at something that gives me an educational kind of leg up on the rest that you'll sit there and passively consume for the masses, because that's not who I want to be. Yeah. I have another, like a vision of who I want to be in the future. And that's why I don't do that. But at the same time, the content that I need to create that way, like the presentation we're going to do later on, it's 264 slides in 45 minutes. It's a very high-paced thing on a super, super technical subject. And it's all about keeping people's attention so they don't have the chance to look at the phone. They don't have the chance to look away, because if you do, you miss out.
You will be closing the last day of Ekoparty. I know STÖK is prepared. How about you, Jonah? Because I have seen him present, and definitely you have a sparring partner with the talks. How was making the content up to here? How was building the presentation? Tell us a little bit of that journey.
So we have a super good dynamic with STÖK, and we have our own strengths, like that are totally different as well. So it felt super easy, super natural. We see many things the same way. We do obviously have like a lot of differing opinions, but we're both adults and we're able to, you know, like constructively talk through them, and I think the results have been awesome, like really good.
Yeah, it's kind of overexplained. I didn't, setting into this, I'm used to like doing things alone. I can trigger slides and I can all this. Now I need to have a dynamic with a partner. Then I'm like, okay, should we do this dance?
Do we
together?
have a script?
Yeah.
We don't have a script, but it is well rehearsed. It's like everything, we don't wing it. It's like if you're playing in a band, you rehearse. You spend a lot of hours to be able to perform it almost to perfection. When you're so good at performing it to perfection, that's where you can add swing. That's when you can have like oh yeah, I'm gonna go into solo here and like literally go off on that because the rest of the band knows it, and you work together. That's what we're doing. We're well rehearsed and we work together.
That's awesome when you can combine powers, right? Because sometimes, like we can, like I think we think sometimes that we can tackle big problems, and probably we can. But when it's a shared responsibility, when the approach is from different backgrounds, it's when it becomes rich. You know, it's like the sauce.
That's the magic of adding the community. The community is like, in this case, in our presentation, it's two people, a pretty small community, but we have a high bandwidth connection because of that. And also on that topic, for the previous question, I want to also kind of add a bit more positivity on the, like what is being on the other side of things, right? So I have an awesome example of, like, there's this Brazilian guy called B. Sisop. I don't know his name. That's another beautiful part of the hacker community. I don't need to. And he's helping a lot with these like questions, everything that goes around FFEF tooling, for example. He's taking a lot of that thing off my back. I never asked him to. He just started to do that. And that is like the community stuff. And like he's really important part of the project now because of that. And kind of, I want to, you know, deliver a message for everybody that, you know, just get involved.
That's something super important, right? Like sometimes I think I get asked a lot, like, hey Fede, how can I start? What I need to learn? And I normally say, like, start doing something that you already know. Translating content, documenting, film, get a YouTube video around you using something, and start from something that you feel safe, and that will give you like these stepping stones into where you want to go, because people want to arrive there. Yeah. But it's all about the journey sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. And in order to keep your interest, make sure that it's something that you actually love to do, not just to do that for, I don't know, fame or clout in general. Make sure that it's something that you love.
I think it's a gas tank that runs empty quite quickly.
Yes, if you only do it for that reason. But if you do it right and people like the things you do, fame and money and whatever you want out of it will come too. But you have to do the work. It's not handed to you freely. You have to show up, you have to do the work, and be a bit of like consistent, like doing bug bounties, for instance. A lot of people think that, no, I can just start doing this, hack stuff and get shitloads of money and get rich now. They do that for a week or two, get sad, and then they quit. It doesn't work. You have to commit.
But I'm thinking about the teenagers that are shaping the future of hacking, technology, whatever. They don't know the whole thing, and then when they start digging in, they find a lot of things that you can do and different paths you have to take. What would you take to them?
I mean, I just YOLO it. I also get bored every now and then I look into something else and get excited again and apply my combined knowledge of this thing and the old thing that I did to create something awesome. And that is also coming back to the community stuff. That is also the power of the communities. Everybody has their own superpower. I know something, but I definitely don't know everything. And people next to me may look up to me like, you're so so cool person because you did that stuff. But they don't understand that they are as like on the same level on something else maybe, and it's just like my one thing that I do well. They do 10 things well probably.
Well, your talk will be at 4:20. I don't know why they put your on a Friday at that same exactly
Because
hour.
they are rock stars. I'm actually figuring things out because my mom is at the door and I'm trying to get her in. So that's why I'm on the phone. I love you guys, but my mom is important.
Yeah, sure. Make sure your mom gets in.
Yeah. So I don't know if Benja it's I sent him okay
Yeah.
there. So they are the rock stars and they deserve to close the show.
Yeah, at 4:20.
All that work,
we
all that
laughed about
rehearsal has to, be for something. And I'm super happy you guys being here. We for the guys that don't know, we definitely spent a few days together in Buenos Aires, and I always find super interesting to meet people, right? And that's something that it's a present for Ekoparty that has given me the opportunity to host and bring friends and know people from all over, and at the same time meeting strangers that seems that we know for a long time ago. And I think that's the secret of community, which is the sheer passion around a topic and the enrichment of these different, people that you cannot always be on top of things, but sometimes having this Brazilian guy helping you is like gives you hope. Meeting a bunch of people that say like, hey, I love this detail that you spent a lot of time doing it, and recognizing that and saying like, now it's part of my work, or thanks for doing this because it has changed how I see things. It's what keep us creating. So thanks for keeping creating. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for inspiring.
Thank you for allowing us to be here, and thank you to all the warm-up speakers that's been working up for the last 3 days to come to our show. It's I'm happy that everybody's here. It's going to be fun.
Definitely, I made them walk through Buenos Aires. I think the step level on their watches must be quite high for Monday, but don't go anywhere. Stay in Ekoparty. Stay doing things. Stay happy and stay breaking things, which is fun.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, and thanks Eco. My first Eco, so awesome. Thanks everybody.
No se vayan a ningún lado. Acá con Gala hay mucho más lado B y esto recién arranca.